Hi, you're listening to This Is Not Your Practice Life. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friends. I'm a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. And if you really want to step into your highest self, there are a few non-negotiables you're going to have to learn, and I am just the person to help you do it. No matter your past, I'm here to help you create a more fulfilling future. So stick around with me. Not only will I teach you how to navigate your brain's daily mind drama, but I'll help you actually understand your mind, your emotions, why you do the things you do, and why others do the things they do. Most importantly, I'll help you build the self-awareness skills to create whatever results you want. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. After all, this is not your practice life. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to another episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. My name is Macy, and we're going to talk about entrepreneurship today. I am going to share my top 5 tips for becoming an entrepreneur, or if you're just getting started in your business, or if you want to start a business. These are going to be the things that I believe are the most vital. I have been in business for myself as a coach for 6 years, and I've loved every single minute, but it is challenging. So I want to try and equip you with as many of the things that have been helpful to me. So that way, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or, you have some business ideas floating around that you're wanting to execute, but maybe haven't yet, or you're just getting started, you can take some of this advice, okay? Now, before we get started, I want to really quickly say this. I have a program called the Hybrid Experience. It is my advanced level emotional intelligence program. It includes a hybrid of one-on-one private coaching with me, plus group coaching that is structured with set topics, and it is 6 months. After our 6-month program is complete, you get to attend a luxury in-person retreat. And our in-person luxury retreat this round is in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. The program itself begins on Tuesday, July 23rd. It will go on for 24 weeks. We will have a 2-week break so you can enjoy your Christmas and New Year's. And then in January of 2025, January 15th through 19th, you will come to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico for an in-person all-inclusive luxury retreat that is already included in the price you pay for the 6-month program. Now, with that being said, I closed enrollment on June 8th. And when you're listening to this, you're going to find it is already past June 8th. So why am I even talking about this? I'm talking about it because when I closed it on June 8th, I did so with a lot of intentionality. I wanted to give myself 7 weeks after I came back from vacation to work on revising and updating a new version of the workbook and getting all of the new modules recorded that the ladies get access to before we officially start the program. I wanted to give myself luxurious amounts of time. I did not want to be rushed, and so I felt like by the time I get done with vacation, I can have 7 weeks, not worried about enrollment, and we can go from there. Well, I bossed so hard on vacation. The first day that I was there, I got there earlier than my friends, and they were driving in, which is like a 9-hour drive. And you guys, I sat in the little condo office community center, and what I thought was going to take me literally probably like 4 weeks minimum actually just took me 9 hours. This is how dramatic our brain can be over tasks on our to-do list. Like, we think things are going to take so much longer sometimes than they have to take. And it's usually because of the resistance that we're feeling in our brain to do said tasks. So I had expected it to take me weeks, which is why I closed enrollment on June 8th. And then I got most of what I needed to get done, like the hardest part of my work, done in about 9 hours of just being in front of the computer all day. When I got back from vacation, I finished up everything else I needed to finish up within about 2 weeks. And so where that has left me at this point, as you're listening to this podcast right now, is about 4 weeks before I actually needed to close enrollment. So I have reopened enrollment temporarily through July 16th of 2024. If you are interested in the hybrid experience, you can learn more at MacyRenee.com. And if you are interested or think that this program may be a good fit for you, I encourage you to either DM me, send me an email, or schedule a consult, because I have removed the buttons for signing up on my website. So gather the information that you need and get in touch with me with any other questions, or if you need the private link to enroll. And if you need a payment plan, we can work that out. There are 3 spots left at this time. So if it's something that you've been interested in, I just encourage you to reach out sooner rather than later. But I would love to fill those spots. We have such great ladies in this upcoming round, and I would love to add you to it if you have felt a calling to do this program. Okay? All right, let's talk about the 5 tips I have for becoming an entrepreneur or starting your business. The very first tip that I have in the very beginning of starting your business is that courage trumps confidence. Okay? What I mean by this is focus on the things that absolutely scare the crap out of you. So many people think that they need to feel confident before they get started. And I just want to encourage you that courage, like the practice of being courageous and things that scare you, is actually what builds your confidence. So what we actually need more than confidence in the beginning is the courage to feel afraid and to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and do the things that we're so intimidated by. And by doing that and doing it over and over and over again, that will naturally and subconsciously build up your confidence. So don't wait until the day you wake up feeling confident to get started. Do it scared. And the more that you do things scared, the more confident that you will feel over time. Okay? So I know that we don't necessarily like that because we don't like feeling scared to do things, but that is your superpower right now, your ability to feel the feeling and proceed. And we're going to talk about that in one of my other tips as well. Okay. My number 2 tip for you is to get in close proximity to the people who are living the life or modeling the business you want for yourself. Okay. With this will likely come some discomfort. And a lot of times the discomfort is feeling like you're not good enough to hang around that person or those people, that you're not at their level, that you're too far behind them because they got started and they're so far ahead, like they got started before you and now they're so far ahead of where you are. There's that piece. Or there's also the self-talk, sometimes like the ego that comes out in us of, I don't want to be in close proximity with them because I feel like I'd be competing with them. Like it's this really weird dynamic that I've seen in entrepreneurship where people oftentimes pull away from someone that can really help build up their skill level. And it's like this sneaky underlying subconscious thought process that somehow you're in competition with someone else. You know what I'm saying? Or that you don't want to be or feel like you're in competition with them. I don't know. The ego can be pretty weird, but I've definitely seen this happen where people will remove themselves from, other people who are several steps ahead or a few steps ahead and could teach them so many valuable things. They will subconsciously kind of pull away and think like, oh my gosh, they're my competition. No way. So just be mindful of that. But proximity is one of your superpowers. Being willing to feel that discomfort and sit at tables and engage in conversations and not count yourself out while you be the best student possible, is just such a vital thing. Like I can't tell you how much I learned, not only from just being like a client of my coach before I ever even started my coaching business. But once I did start my coaching business, instead of seeing her as like, now we're competitors because I want to build clientele too. It was like, how can I make sure that I stay in her world and I'm learning from her as much as possible, and I'm pushing myself to in as many conversations and opportunities to network and be uncomfortable in order to build up the life that I want, because she's very much in many ways living the life that I desire for myself. So rather than exclude myself because I'm not there yet, or exclude myself because I feel maybe so far behind or unworthy or whatever it is, facing that discomfort and pushing myself to stay in close proximity, right? And network in those circles, it was just huge for me, because you really learn a lot of like, this is how someone at this level thinks. This is the mindset that's required to get to this level. This is the level of emotional intelligence needed to build something at this level. These are the types of conversations that are happening at these tables at this level. There's just so much goodness that comes from your willingness to be in close proximity. So, invest in the programs, be in the groups, network. Like, your network is your net worth. And you just want that close proximity, to them. So don't leave those circles if that is something that you're wanting, if that person has the lifestyle / the business that you really desire to have for yourself one day. The third tip that I have is make your emotional intelligence a priority in addition to mindset. Make sure that you're learning the tools to navigate those challenging or unpleasant emotions that will be inevitable in business. In business, I will say, if there's ever a fast track to growing your emotional intelligence, it's entrepreneurship. It is being in business for yourself, because you are going to be on the roller coaster of every emotion imaginable. It's great when things are going really good in business and you're, signing clients, or you're making sales, or your products are selling, or whatever kind of business that you're in. It's good when it's good. And when things, be like a challenge or an obstacle presents itself, having the emotional intelligence to problem solve and to pivot when you finally get used to a system that's working, that happens in business. And sometimes it happens faster than you're ready for. Your ability to be flexible and to pivot and to adapt, and also regulate your nervous system while still, being the person responsible for the health and well-being of your business, can be a lot to juggle. And so your emotional intelligence matters so much whenever you decide that you're going to be in business for yourself. And also, I will say, our brain loves to quit. Our brain loves to slow down, and it loves to take breaks when things get hard. So just notice when you're like, I think I need a break. I just want to encourage you that whenever your brain starts doing that, just know like red alarm bells are going off, and something deeper maybe needs to be addressed in what's happening for you emotionally, and how well you're taking care of yourself. Are you getting the sleep? Are you eating? Are you taking care of yourself? Because in entrepreneurship, consistency is what builds momentum. Your consistency in showing up really does matter, especially in the beginning when no one really knows who you are. The more established you are in business, sometimes the more you can step away and take breaks, and things are still working in the background because you've built up so much value. It's kind of working for you, even if you're not physically actively working. But in the beginning, that consistency builds so much momentum. So when your brain is doing this stop, go, because your emotional management isn't there, and you're like, I'm so tired, I got to slow down, I got to take a break. You have to keep rebuilding that momentum over and over. So become emotionally equipped. And all I can say is, if that's the work you're needing, and tip 3 is like where you're struggling, call me. Okay. Schedule a consult. Let's talk about it. Even if you're not in business, this emotional intelligence is so important, but especially if you're in business, this is going to be like vital. It's your lifeline. Okay. It really is going to be the make it or break it of where you go and how far you go in your entrepreneurship journey, which leads me to number 4, be cautious about having a plan B. So in my situation, before I actually started my coaching business, I was an occupational therapist, and I've talked about that in previous episodes, even specifically the episode before this one. And I started my business while I was still practicing occupational therapy, and I built it on the side. But I will tell you that something that inadvertently happens when you are juggling 2 different things is your energy, there's a winning energy. There is a winner in which one's getting most of your time and attention. And with that, your brain is going to likely be focused on one more than the other. And the one that you tend to be focused on the most is the one bringing consistent income and the one that feels safer. Okay, that's what happens for most people. And so for me, that was my occupational therapy career. I went to school for it. I had, 2 degrees to do it. I had to be licensed to do it. It felt safe. It was in healthcare. It was like, I want to build my business, and one day or someday I want to only be doing my business, but I didn't really put the same level of time and attention and effort, nor did I have the problem solving skills that I have now by being a full-time entrepreneur. So here's what I want to say specifically about plan Bs, because I'm not telling you not to get a job if your business isn't producing the money that maybe you want it to make. I'm not saying like have so much ego or pride that you're not willing to like keep a roof over your head, survive, feed your family. That is not what I mean by, be cautious with a plan B. I also don't mean, if you've been at a job and you've started your business, that all of a sudden you just go balls to the wall and you quit your business. That's not what I mean. Okay. Here's what I specifically mean and want you to watch out for when your brain is relying on a plan B. Plan Bs often create a subconscious out for people in business, right? So when you're treating your business as a side gig or this thing that you do on the side, you don't tend to show up in the energy and the skill that's required as a CEO. And they're 2 very different things. When you aren't reliant on a plan B, or your focus is not primarily on a plan B in case business doesn't work out or in case the entrepreneurship isn't what you want to do, like when that is off the table, you have to use your mindset at a higher level in order to figure things out. So the difference was for me, for instance, when I was still in OT, it's like, oh, if I don't get a client this month, no big deal. I'm still going to make X amount of money on my paycheck, so I'm still going to be able to cover our mortgage, right? Or I'm still going to be able to cover that bill. And so it was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to show up on the internet, and yeah, I'm going to do some things to help me try to get some clients. But no big deal if it doesn't work out because I've got my OT income. Like this is a lot of times the thinking that happens when we're starting a business, especially early on, and we have another job. And fast forward, 2021 is when I walked away from my occupational therapy career because my husband and I were moving from Kentucky to Las Vegas, and I didn't want to get my occupational therapy license in Vegas. I decided I was going to fill every amount of fear available to me, and I was going to really just hone in on being the CEO, being in that CEO energy. And so I told my husband, here's the deal. When we go to Vegas, you're starting a new career. I'm going to go full force on my coaching business. And I don't have a plan B. I don't plan on having a plan B. I'm not even going to apply to get my license there, so I can't even think about it being a plan B. And while that was seriously terrifying, like so terrifying, the way in which that action invited me to show up when I would look at our bank account and I would feel, all the fear, I would have to access versions of myself and thoughts within myself. I would have to generate such safety in my nervous system and with so much emotional intelligence and such higher level thinking in order to take action because there was no plan B, right? So instead of it being, oh, hopefully I'll get a client this month, but if not, no big deal, like it was back when I was working as an OT, it became, we've got to figure this out. We've got to take actions that are going to lead to making sure that clients are coming, right? Because we can't afford not to, or we don't have a roof over our head, or we don't have food. So, it sounds a little bit intense and it does feel intense, but just be cautious with the fact of if your brain is like, I'm going to try this business thing out. I'm going to try my hand at entrepreneurship. I want you to take that phrase, like I'm going to try, I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to, I'm going to dip my toe in and just test the waters. I'm just wanting to encourage you to take that language off the table. What if you couldn't just dip your toe in? What if you couldn't just try it out? What if you couldn't just see if it works for you? Right? Because usually what that means underneath is that you've already decided some sort of exit plan and that you are feeling subconsciously like you can fall on a plan B. And if that is the case, every single time emotionally you feel a little shaken up, your brain is going to want to resort to the safest thing possible, which is going to be the plan B, rather than what has to be developed inside of you to make things happen and to make things work. And so there's a big difference, and I just want to point that out, that I think that is a huge tip that sometimes people miss. And last but not least, tip number 5, have fun in your business. Business can be challenging, business can be hard. Bring in as much fun as possible and be willing to break the mold and trust your creative genius. Not everybody has to do business the same way. So, if someone is ever like, this is the only way, you have to do it this way, you have to take steps 1 through 6 in this order, just be mindful that you get to play and you get to make mistakes and you get to learn and figure things out and create the business that feels good to you in the way you want to do it and figure out what works and what doesn't. And so have the mentors, have the guides, have the, different levels of support that are going to help get you to where you're trying to go, especially with people who are ahead of the game in you. But don't feel like you also can't bring in your own unique personality and your own, uniqueness in general to your business. Sometimes being a rebel and creating and forging your own way will feel really good, and it won't be what everybody else agrees with or what everybody else understands, but tapping into what feels good to you and trusting yourself, I think in business and having fun is just so important. And that's really like something that I've tried to incorporate more and more as my business grows, and is like, okay, I know the industry standard doesn't necessarily say to do this, this, and this. In fact, they'd probably, push against it, but it sounds fun to me, and I'm willing to feel all the things if it doesn't work out. Like, I'm willing to put failure on the line. I'm willing to feel embarrassed. I'm willing to feel like ass. I'm willing to do these things in the name of my own creative genius. And I think that really good things happen sometimes when we do that. For me, it's exactly how the hybrid experience was created. In the coaching industry, it's not typical that you get to be in a program where the one price you pay buys you 6 months of a coach's one-on-one, high touch, personalized attention, plus a group where you get to learn from other individuals, plus a trip where it's already included in the price. You're not paying extra later down the line. Like, it's all inclusive to get to do a luxury retreat. So that just did not exist in the industry whenever the idea came to my mind. And when I consulted, different peers and whatnot, like, people thought that I was crazy. They're like, that's giving so much of your time. That's giving the client so much of your energy. That's really putting your profit on the line because you're giving so much for like so little. Like, you should price it at a minimum of 10K or a minimum of 12K, or, and it's like, I took all of that in, and also I was willing to learn my own lessons. I was also willing to take risk. I also believed in my vision, and I also wanted to serve my clients at a very high touch, like intimate kind of level, for a price that still felt like a little scary, right? But accessible. It wasn't totally, something that felt inaccessible to a majority of clients. And so that's what I mean by have fun, like do things outside of the box. It's not necessarily like what I've done in the hybrid experience is not something that's typical in the industry, especially at the price point, but it's something that has felt good to me. And it's also made me grow substantially because of the challenges, because what has felt hard, because of what, I have had to grow in to make it work and to figure things out. And so just be willing to like have fun and trust yourself in your business, whatever business that is. Okay. All right. I hope you enjoyed these 5 tips for becoming an entrepreneur or starting your business and really getting things going. If you have any questions, you can always schedule a free 60-minute consult at MacyRenee.com. I encourage you to check out the hybrid experience, which you can do so on my website at MacyRenee.com. And if it feels like a good fit for you, if you think you're ready for advanced level emotional intelligence work, please reach out to me, DM me, email me, schedule a consult. Let's talk about, the possibility of you getting into that room, because I would absolutely love to have you. All right. Have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. If you'd like to connect on social media, you can find me on both Instagram and Facebook at Macy Renee Coaching. And if you want to stay up to date on all of my offers, announcements, and inspirational emails, you can join my email list at MacyRenee.com. In addition, if there's a way that I can further support you in your coaching journey, you can schedule a free 60-minute consult at MacyRenee.com anytime you want, so we can discuss the best options for you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.